Hello YouTube and welcome to a new reaction series on the channel here today. Today we're going to be checking out the first episode of Haibane Renmei and we're very excited to be doing just that. A new series. Again, I'm going to say this a lot during this segment, but I know nothing here. I know nothing at all. All I can provide you is some context before we just open the first episode. The context on my end being that this show was the runner-up in a poll. So I've just finished Fully Cooley on the channel. The runner-up after Fully Cooley was Haibane Renmei. I thought Fully Cooley was short enough to the point where, hey, just chuck on whatever's second onto the poll so I don't have to run another poll. Fair enough. So Haibane Renmei's next on the list. I hear it's quite good. I hear it's up my alley. It may have a little bit of a relation to one Serial Experiments Lane, which I have also done on the channel previously. So again, we'll see that when we go through the staff here in a second. But again, yeah, that's the context from my end. That's why I've chosen to watch this show on the channel here today. And yeah, excited to see what makes this show tick. We're gonna take the time here with this series, hopefully, to see what it's trying to get at and attack it and, you know, dissect it and all those things I normally do on the channel, of course. To that end, I think I'm going to do what I normally do. I'm going to get up a key visual. I'm going to have a look at some stuff. I'm not going to read any plot synopsises or anything like that. I'm just going to jump in blind from that perspective, but let's just get a little bit of context to when this thing came out, who worked on it, and a few, I guess, visual element prediction stuff when I get up the key visual too. I'll also try to translate that name, which is a bit of a weird one, Haibane Renmei. Yeah, we'll get to it. Either way, I've got ANN up here. It's very white, like myself, and if I pop over here to one of these buttons, yeah, that one will do. I can get up the same thing and you can look at what I'm looking at. So hello, Haibane Renmei. We'll get into the key visual here in a second and what I can kind of glean from that. But yeah, 12-episode TV show came out in 2002, towards the end of the year, in that, I don't know, what do you Americans call it? Would that be fall for you guys? Yeah, I guess that would be the fall into winter season. Weird. Anyway, and if we scroll down here to the staff, we can see a few notable names, I would say. The people I really want to zero in on this one would be one Tomokazu Tokuro and Yoshitoshi Abe. That one name here, which I definitely recognize from my Serial Experiments Lane series, having worked pretty closely on the show. I believe Tokuro has worked on the show as well. It seems to be one of the closest analogs here staff-wise to the people now working on it, right? I should also get up a studio for this thing. It'll be here somewhere. Radix. I don't know what the hell a Radix is, but we can have a look. So let's start here, because I haven't even looked here yet. Radix. Of course, typing in animation production there as well, so we can actually get a pretty good look at what they've worked on. Nothing that I've seen yet, nothing that I even recognize. There we go, okay, the Count of Monte Cristo. Only some assistants, never mind. Yeah, this was kind of pointless. I'm reading through here. There's not much here that I've even seen. Not much that I have much familiarity with. They were founded in 95. Sure. Yeah, did they die? Maybe I should do some more research. Hang on. Yeah, there we go. They dissolved in 2006. Mal's probably going to be a better resource here. If we sort by newest, definitely wasn't the cream of the crop there towards the end, I would say. What if we go by score? Haibane Renmei, true, and then nothing else that I recognize. Okay, guess that studio itself isn't going to be much of an indicator here. Again, I don't recognize basically any of this. It looks like a bunch of 2000s anime bullshit, if I'm going to be honest. So cool, it's less about Radix, it's more about the people up here, the aforementioned Yoshitoshi Abe and Tokuro as well. So let's go into their stuff a little bit. On the directing front for Tokuro, I've searched here for director, and we're looking through here as well. A little bit of work on Seven Deadly Sins, which is a little bit of a weird one to start off with. The aforementioned Lane, which we'll go into a little bit more with Abe's work as well, but worked on the opening, ending, and episode 12 in the key animation, as well as some other things throughout in the Navi layout supervision. Sure, I think Navis were computers in Lane, so that's a bit of a odd thing to say, sure. Worked on the Utena movie in some computer graphics production, so something else I've watched on the channel there as well. Shoutouts to Utena, of course. Got the, I believe you would say, Near 7, chief director and director on that production as well. More relations to Lane, I think, a lot staff-wise, I think there. Mariaholic Alive, Maho Sensei Nejima. Yeah, okay. Hellsing Ultimate, Haibane Renmei, of course. There's a little bit of stuff here. Specifically the OVA for Hellsing as well. Yeah, again, this is a little bit outside of my wheelhouse, obviously, because I'm a little bit of a zoomer compared to some of this stuff, but you know, we're having a look. Jumping over here to Yoshitoshi Abe, we have Serial Experiments Lane here, as well as the aforementioned Nier 7, Haibane Renmei, and a few other things here. Notably, was working on Despera with, I believe it was Nakamura and Konaka? Yeah, those two, which unfortunately Nakamura had passed away. This was the kind of follow-up to all their kind of work together in the past, up to and including Lane as well, so obviously involved in that whole kind of section of the industry, I would say. A few other notable mentions here, some art on Welcome to the NHK, which is, for the novel specifically. Maybe wrote the novel? Is it a light novel? I don't even know. But I hear that's a pretty well-regarded piece of fiction regardless, as well as working on Technolize, which is another thing that was on the poll from memory, or I've had on polls in the past, I would say. Illustrations on the novel of Edge of Tomorrow. That's kind of cool. Yeah, all you need is kill the original character designer for the manga. Yeah, cool. Awesome. Obviously, got the Hollywood adaptation there as well, which I think is quite nice. There was a couple of other stuff I wanted to look at here, up to and including Takata, who just has a really awesome CV, I would say. If we go here to Haibane Renmei, specifically working on the character design and a little bit of key animation on it. But honestly, look at this thing. I'm going to scroll through pretty fast. It's just a lot of shit. A bunch of idol shows randomly, as well as Akebi Sailor Girl Uniform, Anohana, Blue Exorcist, Cardcaptor Sakura, Darling in the Franxx, Durarara, Ergo Proxy, Evangelion. I could go on forever. This guy's got a really cool CV. I like to nerd out in ANN sometimes and just look at what people have done, and I think that's kind of nice. The other one here would be the music by Ko Otani. If I scroll down here, working on a little bit of music for the Gundam series as well, and a few other things here and there. Wild Arms, which is a fun pull, of course. Deltora Quest. If you're Australian, you know. Yeah, there's some fun stuff there as well, but I think I'll jump out of the staff here for a second. Again, don't know much about the voice actors, don't really want to look at character names or any of that as well. I think our next step will be jumping over to Jisho, who I've got something up here about Haibane Renmei, because again, when you look it up on Mal, it doesn't really have a translation for Haibane Renmei, and that made me a little bit confused. So I'm like, what's the go? What's the deal there? So I typed in Haibane into Jisho here, which is a Japanese dictionary thing, and it means nothing. It's a combination of words, I think. It doesn't mean nothing. That was the wrong thing to say, but it's not two traditional words that people would say in everyday conversation, I would say, right? It's a jamming together of various kanji. So let's go through the kanji here for Haibane and then Renmei. So Haibane is like ashes, or I don't know what puckery juice is, but involved in death, you would say. Ashes, cremation, that kind of thing, as well as feathers. Counter for birds, rabbits. I don't know what the fuck that means, but feathers would make sense with where I'm heading with this little anecdote. Then we go to Renmei, of course. Take along, lead, join, connect, party, gang, click, as well as alliance and oath. If you were to put that kind of word cloud together, right, of the amount of things this would mean: death, feathers, leading along, alliance, oath, I would say religious, and I would say angel. So let me get that key visual up, and then we can try to make some connections, shall we? There we go. I think this will do. This is for the DVD cover, but gets the gist across, I think. It's the post on Mal as well. Anyway, this is an angel, ladies and gentlemen. We can see here from the halo as well as the wings. A few things to note. So that's obviously what Haibane Renmei is getting at, this whole angelic concept, I would say. You look kind of scared, or this isn't... You know how angels are contented and peaceful and calm? This looks anything but that. This looks like somebody that's nervous and afraid, and their body's kind of turning away, and they're not quite facing this front on. It feels like there's some conflict here where there probably shouldn't be conflict traditionally. Do you want to be doing what you're doing right now? Being an angel, that kind of thing. Another indicator here, of course, would be our little halo is only propped up by looks like a little bit of string there or something, just kind of keeping it up in the air. That seems strained, as well as these wings straight up coming out of your back. We show off the back explicitly. So hey, angels have wings, but we never really focus on how the wings actually connect to the body and how any of that actually works. Explicitly showing this here shows the pain and kind of the story behind the wings, if that makes any sense. If this character was facing us, we wouldn't get this view. We wouldn't get this view into how this all works, I guess. By showing us this, it makes me feel like we're almost subverting the angel system, if that makes any sense. We're going to show you how this all works in greater detail than is, again, demonstrated in, most Christian texts, I would say. I don't know, that's just a theory, I guess, but it feels like we're going to get a little bit more literal with the whole angel thing. Now, are we going to be, some of these keywords over here, if I jump back over here quickly, take along, lead. Are we going to be leading other people to death, to heaven, that kind of thing? Is that kind of the role of these angels in that regard? Specifically here in some of the wording, it seems like Haibane is a proper noun almost, or not a proper noun, a noun. It describes a role. Haibanes of the Old Home was the original comic series name. So is this what I see on screen over here? Is that a Haibane? Is that what we're getting at? Is that a specific kind of angel or something like that? I do not know. I can only speculate. I kind of already alluded to this, but this is really exciting for me from the perspective of I just don't know what this is or what to expect. So a lot on the channel, I watch shows that are requested, and those shows that are requested are quite famous, so it's hard to go into those shows purely blind, not knowing anything. I do not know, anything here. I do not know premise. I don't know what this thing looks like. I don't know how long the episodes are going to be. I don't know if it's finished. I don't know anything about it. And that's exciting. I think, from that perspective, I think this first episode will be elucidating. So I'm going to stop yapping about it, and we're going to jump over to that first episode, of course. I should also mention that I have a Patreon, so if you guys are really interested in this first episode and want to see, I'm going to imagine the next couple next week, then the floor is yours. There's a link in the description, $6 a month, and you can get those episodes 1 week early. You can also join the Discord. It's free. There's a link in the description if you wanted to discuss the show with me. It's the best way to get in contact with me and so forth. As well as that, the normal stuff, like the video, subscribe. And let's jump into this thing. Let's jump into the first episode of Haibane Renmei. Rightio, I have episode 1 of Haibane Renmei up there ready to go. 22 minutes and 55 seconds on this one, so sync up accordingly with your own copy. I should mention the copy that I have as well. There was a little bit of drama about this. Apparently the Blu-ray stuff has a really bad upscale that looks terrible. That's what people tell me. So I haven't got the Blu-ray, I've got the DVD instead. Specifically, if you wanted a kind of author for the subset, I think it's Tesseract. It's the one on Nya with the most upvotes. I don't know. That shit's weird. I don't know how pirating works. It seems to be the best version there, the one that's appreciated the most. Sure. If it's a problem for anybody, I'm willing and able to change anything to anything else anybody would want. Specifically there, I think the subs are just the official subs that would be on the DVD. Yeah, that's the ones I have from my little cursory glance just there. Either way, if you don't want to mess with any of that stuff, there is a picture-in-picture version in the description below, of course. You can access that at your leisure. Let's give this thing a 3, 2, 1 and jump right in. Radio, 3, 2, 1, go. Underwater, there's a light. Somebody is falling through the sky? Some kind of angel falling from heaven? And a crow, a symbol of death. You most certainly are. Foi foi. Sounds like you've died. Love the music already. Yeah, very effective opening early. Yeah, just got a little bit more real. Cool. I have questions, of course. Why are you falling from the sky? Dream of falling from the sky, old home cocoon. Is that an episode name? What the hell was that? Okay, you're cool looking. Uh, egg? You were amazed at egg? More specifically, I think cocoon would be what I would call that. Or like, you know when spiders like have that fucking have their babies in that web shit? It's fucking weird. You've notably got a halo and some wings. That's great. You came back to put the cigarette out. We love a fire conscious angel. Yeah, music's really standout thus far. Young feathers must not enter by Reki. Are we in heaven, chat? The backgrounds are really nice too. Cocoon hatching, gotcha. Yeah, and you're like the teacher type. I'm imagining, yeah, you're Reki. There's a hella big cocoon in here. Thank you. Yeah, us Haibane. In here. Crossing the precipice. This seems kind of wholesome. I wasn't expecting wholesome, I guess. Well, it grew pretty big. Now, what comes out of the cocoon? I agree. This combination of death and rebirth, right? It's curious. Okay, this is how Haibane are born. So this is the transition between life and death? You guys aren't allowed to be here. Beat up the children quickly. Smoke at them some more. Fair enough. If the vibe here is kind of like baby shower vibe. Like it's very hopeful. Eh? Okay, am I inside the cocoon? Okay, I mean, that was expected. I think you're in a cocoon, personally. Almost like a womb, no? Alright, at least they'll be able to clean up. I wonder if there's going to be a bunch of goo that comes out. It's a bad idea. Break the world shell? I love it when it goes blub. You guys might get squirted at. Yeah, I would, yeah. Thought that might have happened. That's honestly disgusting, because I'm thinking about, like, the real-life birth analog. No. Stop thinking about that. That's bad. Okay. We cleaned you up, I guess. Not quite. I'm in like a room. Now, my question is, where's your halo and wings? So yeah, this is the same costuming you had on the poster as well. Odd. Hello. I would be very confused. Imagine this happening and you like have no clue what it is. Like, who the fuck are you people? uh. I'm confused. Oh, the backwards chair tech. Thank you, Reki. Thanks for asking. Alright, explain at me. I'm ready for some exposition. What is Donut Wand? What is that? Never knows best? Um, you're gonna have to be more specific. I was in the air, I believe. Was that an ad break? That stank of an ad break. There was a crow. Yeah, like Kingdom Hearts style, falling down. Um, what do you mean overlap? Oh. Well, how about crow? What does Reki mean? Come on. Crows are generally ominous, so maybe you shouldn't mention it. Raka. Thanks for telling me. Forgot your own name from a previous life, potentially. The donut tech. It was a halo the whole time. Okay. Sick. Now, it looked like it had something tied to it in that poster as well. Has that ever happened before? Seems ominous. There we go. There's the thing tied to it. That's great. Will it? I hope it will. What is it that Haibanes do? Goodbye. Okay. Please fill me in on the exposition. Great first question. Sounds painful. All I'm thinking about is X-Men, those movies from the 2000s? The wings growing there. Yeah. Always used to freak me out as a kid. Okay, I mean, I don't really have a choice. I'm kind of still just here. Yeah, it doesn't sound. Looks fucking really painful. But we're going to delay? Delay exposition? No way. I agree. This doesn't really seem like heaven if we're like feeling pain and stuff. Great question. You don't even know? TFB, I think you're dead. Weird. Why did it move around like that? No! Okay, that's kind of sick. Very 2000s. Okay. You're willing to help, that's nice. Why? Surely there's something better than your own finger in that situation, but I digress. That's fucking strange. Sick looking. Yeah, okay. Obviously, we're. Yeah, I'm left with questions. We're building juxtaposition, which is nice. Scary. I am. Brushing the blood out. Slowly but surely. Grease? Yeah, look at the bite marks, so that was cool. Interesting thing to note. You do look a little bit strange. It's good that you're feeling better, though. At least Reki seems to think that all this stuff is normal. Adorable. A little bit of tonal whiplash, though. You were just having some fucking abomination happen to your body not too long ago. But fair enough, it's good that you're feeling better. Raka. Gotta remember names as well. I'm trying to get a read on the tone. Welcome to Old Home? I guess that's what we're calling this. The Old Home? I am rotating? I'm trying to get a read on the show. I couldn't off the first episode. Is it, like, creepy and kind of unnerving that this is happening to people? Or is this, like, a good thing? Is it almost like an Ayashike, like we're just gonna hang type show? Wasn't really, I wouldn't say, much of a plot hook this episode, I wouldn't say. Which does make me want to watch another one, but I can't. I don't have the time here today. Maybe 2 next week will get us a little bit further in that regard. The singer's voice is familiar. I don't know why. It was good though. It was just very. I liked the music in combination with its visual style. Even in this even the 480p, which I'm watching it through at the moment, a lot of that distinct kind of background work along with the music in that kind of painterly style really came through in a nice way. Obviously warming to the character of Reki, but you're supposed to off the first episode. She's very nice. Raka's obviously a blank slate. We'll learn more and more about her as we continue. So yeah, really intriguing one first up here. I don't know if I'll have all that much to say about it. It might be a bit of a shorter upload in that regard. We'll see how we go. We'll see if we can have, I guess, something to bounce off of ideas-wise. Obviously, there's angels and rebirth involved and all sorts of nonsense there, so it'd be fun to talk about that metaphorically, but not much else in the character department, I would say. A few maybe hints in each of their respective dreams when they were in the cocoon may allude to their time of death. Because I'm seeing this as a transition between life as I'm living right now to somewhat of an afterlife. Whether that be mystical in nature or man-made in nature, we're still unknown, right? It's about uncovering the mysteries of the show in that regard. But yeah, I'm imagining what happened before then, and that dream could be reality as we know it, and then they're moving somewhere else after that. Yeah, one to watch maybe, we'll see. I'll bring that episode back up and we can have a look. So before anything else, what I've tried to do here is download a different version, download the Blu-ray up-res, or whatever the hell, the upscale, which apparently looks terrible. So this is what I was watching just then. Now let's pop over to the new one. There's the new one. Do you see any difference? I see hardly any difference at all. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't see, like, any difference between the two. So, again, it's just going to be a little bit crusty, especially this opening. It looked kind of crusty to me. But again, that's the 2000s, I guess. Like, everything just looked kind of crusty back then. And it's kind of that aesthetic as well that I kind of enjoy about older shows as well. So, maybe just keep it as it is. I thought I would download the upscale to have a look, but there's not really much there, if I'm honest. But more focused on the show, I kind of went into it in the ED. Obviously a little bit of a low-key opener, but I think on purpose. Definitely the tone of, if you've had like a birth in the family, there's just this general tone of kind of waiting around and anticipation and cleaning up around the kind of childbirth and that kind of thing, and, preparing for the new kid. Again, I have scarce experience in my own life of that kind of thing, but it has happened once or twice, just with the extended family. Definitely that vibe, and I think that's very purposeful. I do enjoy it from that perspective. I wonder if we're going to follow a life cycle through the show, if that makes any sense. If this is kind of the birth, so to say, the birth of an afterlife, even. And we're going to now follow whatever that new life is from this point. If, again, uncovering things about the old life and the mystery behind it all as we continue. That's where I think we'll go. Just, interesting show visually, I would say. Definitely kind of upping the animation as the kind of more intense scenes later in the episode take place. Definitely looks 2000s-y. I don't know how to explain it, but some of those cuts looked kind of like Naruto, and that's kind of my my basis there, which is kind of funny. Character designs in general, seem pretty good. Everyone's very nice. Everyone's extremely nice, to the point where it feels like this is some kind of heaven, so to say. But there's obviously a few outlying things that raise some question marks, right? So what are these halos? Why are they like being forged, so to say? Why is there cocoons? That's weird. Why does it not seem like there's any old people here at all? Do old people not get to go to heaven? Maybe, I don't know how it works yet. Yeah, questions, I would say. A few questions in the background of what, again, on the surface level is a pretty happy and chill episode, I would say. Outside of the wings growing scene, I would say. Yeah, I mean, I'll go back through here and see what I can see, but yeah, myriad questions, I would say. So a few interesting things to note here. We start off with a look at a light through the water. So to speak, when one dies, they walk towards the light, something like that. So we'll see if this leitmotif follows through this opening scene a little bit more. It's almost like we emerge out of the water into the sky. So again, a precipice point, we're kind of transitioning from one thing to another there. Following the light in is what the camera was doing there too. We kind of zoom into the light, so going into the light as we're dying. Immediately an image of a crow as well, another symbol of death. And our currently unnamed character of Raka, we don't know her name right now, maybe we'll learn it later on, is falling through the sky. One thing to note immediately is costuming. Is costuming going to be important here, or is this just what they all wear? I don't know. It seems like from the rest of the students, the rest of the kids, I guess, that are in this old home, so to say, it seems like a lot of them aren't wearing the same thing. It seems like a lot of them, there isn't a uniform, so to speak. So is this the clothes that you were wearing when you died? And if so, it looks kind of like a hospital gown, no? Question mark? Were you sick? Why are you then falling? Yeah, because one of my major theories, and I'll talk about it later on, is that whatever your little dream is kind of what you were doing when you died, so to say. And kind of the last thing you remember before being taken off to wherever this is now, old home. So Raka here flying through the sky, unsure of where she is. I'm unsure if she even has her memory even at this point. Falling from the sky but unafraid, embracing the crow, embracing death. That kind of calmness upon knowing that you're about to die. The lack of struggle there, just kind of contented with your situation. And there's kind of happiness in the lack of hope, almost, in this scene, I would say. I'm fluffy and warm, but anxious on the inside. Again, some part of your psyche knows that you're dying, and part of the human condition is not wanting to die, right? It's pretty much number one up there. Survival. So on some level, there's a part of my humanness that is scared right now, but I've kind of dulled the feeling as well. It feels like, you know, when you, like, a painless death, when you, like, put an animal down or something like that, like a very humane style of death. Obviously, you're aware that you're dying, but there's no pain there. I'm not afraid, but my heart is cold. Another interesting thing that happens here is that the crow is trying to pull her back up, to which the crow then separates, because Raka realizes that it's kind of, like, fruitless. There's no way that you can save me here. From there, you continue to fall almost out of the sky into, like, the atmosphere of the earth, and then towards what I'm imagining is old home. Yeah, in that wider shot there. From there, you gain a bit of anxiety. You kind of, like, fall into the situation a little bit more and realize what's happening. So questions, obviously. The main one I'm leaning towards, right, is there a spiritual element to this? Is there a mystical element? Is there magic at play? Any of these things, right? Is there an explanation outside of scientifical for why this is occurring? I think potentially, yeah. But also this may be an extended metaphor for whatever science is at play. It seems like, again, you cross multiple precipice points. There's the precipice from the water out into the sky, and then it feels like you're falling through this void to the point where you fall into Earth's atmosphere and then down into the cocoon, presumably. So there's multiple points there where you transition between kind of thoughts, feelings, transition between being awake and aware as well. So a few things to watch there. I believe this is the episode title, which is a little bit of a mouthful. Cocoon, Dream of Falling from the Sky. Old home. I'm imagining Raqqa is in this name here somewhere as well, and old home is the location of where we're at. I spent a lot of time on that opening scene because I think up until Raqqa reemerges from the cocoon, there's not a whole lot to say. There's a few fun little character details early, and as well as the introduction of our general setting, and a few questions. But other than that, not a lot. I think Raqqa is the meat of this episode. In contrast to the light we just saw, we see Reki here emerging out of the darkness. This is the first time we see her as a character. From contextual clues later, I would imagine the old home itself is quite a large building. The cocoon's pretty big, but they weren't sure if they would find it if they weren't actively looking for it, right? It seems like Reki here is doing some other kind of busy work and then just stumbles upon it. Kind of hearing a weird sound from that room, opening the door there, and then seeing something which wasn't there before. So let's talk about the cocoon. So obviously cocoon is like a metamorphosis. It's a transition from one thing to another. It also involves, like I'm thinking butterflies, right? It involves wings as well, so there's another connection there. It almost speaks to an elevated state of being coming out of, like, starting off as a caterpillar, going into cocoon, death, becoming a larger, better state of being, but only in a fleeting manner. Is that the curse of a Haibane, maybe? Because, yeah, again, like, cocoon, the metamorphosis there is one of the most obvious metaphors for change that you can see. It feels like there's a true tangible difference between a human and what you become now upon exiting the cocoon. This shocks Reki enough to leave her mouth agape and drop the cigarette, as well as drop all the gear on the ground, run away, before realizing that you've dropped your cigarette, and I better go put it out so I don't start a fire. Fantastic. So that's a great example of early show don't tell character establishment, right? So we didn't need a narrator on screen telling us that Reki is the way she is. We can infer from her actions. So from the carrying of the box, a bit of a busybody, hard worker, the older or near-son type compared to the other characters. Again, I've talked about smoking and feels like a half of the series I do on the channel. Smoking is a self-destructive habit, but potentially as a Haibane, it doesn't matter as much. It's an addiction, it's a thing you can't kick, and it's also self-destructive, but does that even matter if I'm an angel? If I have, eternal life, so to say? Is that what this thing is? We don't know. And of course, running back and putting the cigarette out, she is responsible, but she gets ahead of herself sometimes. Again, I would describe her as a bit of a busybody. And again, that is established further through the episode, the brushing of the wings and so forth. I did mention the music as well. I really do think it's standout in this first episode. Really, probably the mixing there could be a little bit better. It's a little bit loud in spots, but the pieces themselves are quite nice. Just, really giving this jovial tone to the whole thing. Very classical, very European in style, almost sounding like heaven at points. Like that kind of classic European style of music, closely associated with Christianity and heaven itself. Something to watch there, maybe. I like this small sign here as well. Young feathers do not enter. So, again, you can become a Haibane at a very young age. They are the young feathers. They would obviously act like little kids. Thus, they need a sign meant for little kids to tell them not to enter, right? They could disrupt this thing. They could, again, there was a bunch of, fluid when it got birthed. That wouldn't be great with kids around. Just, again, I'm the scary older one. I'm going to scare off any of the kids doing anything. We quickly transition from that, though, if VLC wants to behave, to a wide shot here. And we've also got a couple of wide shots later on as well, just kind of establishing the world. Obviously, a lot of greenery. Obviously, the sky is very blown out. Even a green sky, as opposed to the normal blue. Very hazy, very not normal. But I noticed here wind turbines, clean energy. If this is heaven, so to say, why would you even need energy? Why would you even need power? Also, the building is abandoned. What's the go there? What's the deal? Questions. I have lots of questions. I don't believe I think they want this to be heaven. I think somebody wants this to be heaven, and the way it's been described is heaven, but it's not. It's still taking place on planet Earth and so forth. The mystery will be revealed at some point, but I don't think we're in heaven. We meet another couple of characters here riding into the old home on their bikes, or on one bike, I should say. I'll grab some character names later on. I'm unsure who's going to be important yet and so forth, but just kind of, again, establishing that this is somewhere you travel to. Like, people got here before us. We don't live here. We travel to here every day like it's a little school or something. Definitely a school teacher vibe to Reki as well overall, I would say, especially like kindergarten teacher based on this scene. Again, we know kids very well. If you tell them not to do something, then they will do it. If you tell them to keep out, they'll become curious. Obviously, Reki didn't know that this to be the fact. Maybe a little bit of extra character development there, a little bit naive. We imply from the dialogue here that you two work somewhere else and you've got time off to witness the birth of a new Haibane. Again, maybe this is less. Maybe this whole area is old home. I was implying that the building itself was old home. No, it's kind of this whole area. And when Raka wakes up out of her kind of slumber there and actually explores the world a little bit, we'll find what you two actually do. I noted here in the episode as well, there's this very deliberate shot here at the doorway, another crossing of a precipice, right, into this room, right? Focus on the feet as well, focus on crossing that barrier. Something very similar to what Raka is doing out of the cocoon here later in the scene. I just think that's a neat thing, production-wise. Another very deliberate line here is it started as small as a dandelion puff and then grew to this size. This again builds up this theme of childbirth, right? Obviously, through the term of pregnancy, the baby will start very, very small and obviously grow to the size of a baby by the very end, maybe mirroring that here in a little bit of the language. I'm definitely, yeah, again, getting this nursery vibe, getting this, like, everybody gather around because, you know, she's gone into labor and that kind of thing. We explicitly use the word hatch here as well, giving us that kind of egg vibe, breaking again that barrier between life and death. We went into eggs a lot in Utena. I don't need to repeat myself, but again, there's a lot of symbolism within an egg too. It's established in the world this is the method by which Haibanes are born. We explicitly say that this other character back here, Ku, was one of the ones that was born like this, and everybody has a memory of that, right? I would imagine, again, it'd be interesting to watch if characters age, or if they maintain that same age through everything as we continue, right? Was Reki... Did she come out of the egg as Reki, if that makes any sense? Out of the cocoon like that? One to watch for the future. The cocoon size here as well also seems to match with how big the person is. Ku's the smallest of the bunch here, and this cocoon is bigger than Ku, thus we can imply that the Haibane coming out is going to be older than Ku, right? Ku wants a little sister. Too fucking bad, you're getting a big sister instead. From here we meet back up with Raka again. She's inside the cocoon and she's kind of gained sentience again. Is that the right word? She gained consciousness, I guess. The first thing she says upon she wakes up, she's like, am I in a dream now? So, which is the dream, right? Yeah, interesting question. Very Lane, actually. The kind of, what is a dream? What is reality? What is real? What is fake? What is a simulation? What is not? I don't know, yeah. Waking up and going to sleep and transitioning between different points, like 3 to 4 different times in this intro, is very, very interesting. I wonder if we'll reflect back upon that, upon learning some more things, and we'll see some more things there. I wonder, and it'll all kind of fit into place. Continuing our metaphor here, of course, is we're kind of in this... It feels like we're in a womb. There's a lot of, like, fluid, and it just kind of, like, floating around, waiting to be born, that kind of thing. When you see kind of, again, in cartoons and stuff, when you see like the womb characterized and being within the womb, it's kind of like this, I would say. But this here is way more like a baby bird, like pecking at the shell and the shell cracking and that kind of thing. Hearing the voices on the outside going towards the light. Yeah, a lot to talk about metaphorically here for sure. The rest of the gang has finished cleaning the room, but much to their, I guess, disgust, the egg is about to hatch. The cocoon is about to be broken. Another very explicit line here from Reki. It feels like she knows more than she's letting on as well. But yeah, if you can't crack the shell by yourself, you won't grow strong. Kind of, again, that same thesis you see a lot in kind of baby birds and that kind of thing. Same thing with, like, kick them out of the nest. If they can't fly, then they weren't strong enough, right? Survival of the fittest type energy to it. Obviously, a lot of that same stuff I talked about in Utena as well, about, you know, breaking the world shell to revolutionize the world by cracking the egg and that kind of stuff. If you don't show enough personal striving to break that shell, then you won't have that same energy when it comes to revolutionizing the world, participating in the plot of the show, that kind of stuff. It needs to be left to the main character to make those decisions. I think that's a pretty neat little thing to talk about as well. Continuing the metaphor here, ear up to the kind of cocoon, making a kind of kicking sound, making a blub, so to say. very much baby in the womb type areas. And then, yeah, from here, it starts to all fall apart. Yeah, it seems pretty intriguing until it starts leaking fluid. That's when I would start running away. This shot here also says a lot without saying anything. Enough to make the door bulge is crazy. They must have gotten fucking soaked in there. I've talked about this as well. A lot of transitions between different states of consciousness, right? So obviously you're kind of aware in the shell, right? You're digging out or whatever, right? Then you become unconscious, and then you wake up again, and then you go to sleep again, and then you wake up again. Like, there's lots of drifting in and out. Again, at these points where we're transitioning between different scenes in a simulation or something, right? Like, that's almost the kind of vibe I get. Also, when we wake up, it feels like we're still in the clouds. It feels like we're still falling. It feels like there's not much difference between there. Even in kind of some of the coloration and the lighting of the scene, it feels like we're in the sky. It feels like there's a lot of cloud-like shapes around. Again, before Rako realizes that she's in a bedroom and there's nobody around. She's woken up in a bed she doesn't recognize. Very specifically here as well, there's a reflection on the roof, much like the reflection, if I can grab it, much like the reflection we saw at the very start of the episode, almost that kind of sun on the water type look. Now, what is causing that to be there? I don't know. It's just very curious, right? Another point, another precipice, the edge of the water there. Everything felt soft in the dream, but things feel rough here. Now, that's not something you would normally associate with somewhere like heaven, right? Weird. It feels like it actually exists where the rest of it was a dream. And yeah, based on the poster and this shot and the pain there, I recognize where we're going with the scene almost immediately with the wings, right? I commented in the reaction, but imagine waking up like this after like not seeing anybody and not remembering who you are or anything, really groggy like, and then seeing 5 to 6 people you don't know walking in with wings and halos. That would be insane. You would feel like you're freaking out. So everybody walks in. There's a mention of a ring bearer as well, which I'm imagining is the person that's holding the halo. Halos are very interesting to me. Like, what's the go there? What's the deal? Another fun point of characterization as well. You sit on the chair backwards. I'm getting like cool teacher vibes. I like Reki quite a bit, and I think I was wondering why. And I think I've gone back through the episode here and I've kind of discovered all the little tips and tricks that they did to make me like her. The one part I can't put together yet is the smoking. What is self-destructive about what you're doing? Are you not telling the entire truth to everybody? I don't know. Yeah, Reki's one to watch. You don't make a character smoke for no reason, is my point. I guess it is like 2002. That was like way more socially acceptable back then, but even kind of not really. I don't know, it's a weird one. Notably, and I don't see this in a lot of shows anymore, there's a very, very definitive ad break here, right at the midpoint of the episode, almost exactly right, where we fade to black off of that, and then fade back up, and there's an establishing shot, and we say the same line again. I don't normally see that. The very obvious ad break there in the episode. Immediately out of there, the first question we ask, what was your dream about? Implying that everybody has a dream when they're in the cocoon. So from the very start, I kind of theorized that we kind of crossed out of the water into like a void, passed into the atmosphere of Earth, and then seemingly like was transported into the cocoon, like consciousness was, right? And if everybody has a dream and that's something that unites them, that then sounds suspicious, right? Specifically, even, you had a very similar dream to Ku, who was falling through the sky. Specifically, Ku mentions here that they were floating. Each Haibane is named after what happened in their dream. I had a dream being surrounded by a sparkling light, thus my name is Hikari, which I didn't know meant light, but now I do. I was swimming in the river like a fish, so my name is Kana, which stands for river fish. Hikari, Kana, Nemu. Oh yeah, Nemu matches with Sleepy. So I'm wondering the implication of all of these, right? I theorized in the past that it was their cause of death. So what would a cause of death involving light be? There's quite a few. You could be like on an operating table or lots of things there, right? You were in a river, okay, drowned, were swept away, that kind of thing. Hardcore sleepyhead called Nemu, so died in your sleep from some other illness. Because falling through the air and floating through the air, those come with, like, you jumped or something, right? You know what I mean by when I say you jumped. We don't mention Rekis here, and I wanted to look up what Reki means. So let me Google. From my cursory Google there, it seems to be something to the effect of a calendar or continuation of time. But again, I could be incorrect in that regard. That kind of dwarfs my theory a little bit. How would time or a calendar be involved in someone's death? Did Reki die of old age? something like that. Weird one. Yeah, time being mentioned as a theme here. Odd. Upon hearing, I guess, the vagueness of Raka's story here, take a big old drag of the cigarette, and the ash falls, right? Falls to the ground, dropping, falling. That's how we get the name Raka. Coded in the scene is kind of the like you're smoking a cigarette and the discard there falls. So what does that mean metaphorically? And that's what gives you the name of Raka. I'm smoking you. I rolled you up in a spliff and I smoked you. That's obviously not what that means. Odd. Yeah, I don't know if I trust Reki. Weird one early, but maybe I don't. I don't know. But she seems very nice. Upon being given the name Raka, Raka tries to remember her old name. She can't. Nobody remembers you here. Even yourself. You've transitioned, right? There's been a breaking off point. From there, we go straight into the Halo stuff. Feather Raka to be a guide for your future as a Haibane. We saw earlier from that poster, it seems like everybody's called a Feather. Feather, Haibane, they're all kind of that similar thing. As we remember from that translation of Haibane as well, feather is part of the word. A few questions as well. There's an explicit heat coming from the halo, which is a weird one, and it doesn't quite sit on her head correctly immediately. Explicitly here, we don't mention the crow. That was an integral part of the dream as well. Don't really know what that's about. Maybe the crow and that link is something about why the halo doesn't sit quite right, you know? So you're not quite that same as everybody else. There's another symbol that's trying to stop you from going into that place. So comfy vibes thus far, right? Everybody's just been very welcoming and nice. The school bell goes off, everybody leaves, and then the episode transitions to like almost body horror here as the wings start to grow in. There's also the symbolism here that I failed to talk about of like, okay, you're an angel only by like something else propping it up, if that makes any sense. You're not a pure angel. There's something else that needs to assist in the halo sitting there. Feels fake in that regard. Is that another indicator of plot stuff? That this isn't what it seems and there's a little bit of fakeness to it? Potentially. Is Raka stupid? She also didn't notice the wings until now. And yeah, that's part of being a Haibane is growing wings. Thus, hey, you have this uncomfortable feeling in your back. That's your wings beginning to sprout through. Again, another very notable transition point between the flesh and the skin, which is another one to watch. Again, a lot of breaking of barriers, as I've noted. And yeah, it gets pretty intense pretty quickly here. There's a particular line of dialogue I like later where it's like the sweat still stings my eyes, which I thought was very evocative. You can kind of, again, like you go for a long run or that kind of thing, just sweat a lot and your eyes start to like, again, it's got that salty feeling to it. Yeah, very, very good line. I liked that quite a bit. But yeah, it goes like full on, it's almost like Alien, no? There's like something under your skin trying to get out. Yeah, it gave me the heebie-jeebies. I didn't like it. Again, it all just happens very quickly. It takes a turn at a certain point. A really fun line here as well. It feels like I'm being pulled. It feels like the wings are being pulled out of me, right? Like something's like pulling me up. The crow was pulling her up earlier in the episode as well. Again, just watching for fun mirrors and fun like little things that are happening. A very important question here which Raka asks, are we human? Nobody knows what we are. Are we human anymore even? Nobody knows what we are. In need of a name, we named ourselves Haibane. I want to go home. Well, you can't. Nobody is allowed to leave this town. Besides, even if your family was somewhere in this world, they wouldn't recognize you. Because again, it's kind of barrier of memory, right? Also, how do you know that if nobody's ever left the town? So yeah, seems like it sucks pretty bad. Like, nobody remembers me. Why was I chosen to be here? I've lost my own memory. There's kind of not much to do. It seems pretty idyllic in a pretty base level way. It's like farmland and there's like nice houses around. There's lots of clean energy. But I can't do any of the things I used to do in the real world, so what's the go there? Why was I chosen for this? I believe that you died, I think? And yeah, nobody remembers why they were chosen. And then the body horror starts to occur from there. Again, body horror is probably a little extreme, but you know what I mean. Yeah, some really, really fun cuts here from Reki's rush to the first aid kit and that kind of stuff. Like it falls here, like kind of that bounce there, that really fun bounce. Picking this stuff up here and then this run. The kind of subtle bounce in the camera, I can't really describe it as anything else but 2000s-y. I really, really like it. And yeah, pretty intense here. You see it breaking the skin here. It kind of like splashes blood on Reki's face. Bite my finger so you have something to like, you know, help with the pain. So you don't bite your own tongue off. Yeah, intense. also biting the finger's weird. Why wouldn't you just get her to like bite like a towel or something? And then yeah, pretty full-on gruesome here. The kind of wings growing from there, and then that big kind of explosion outwards with that kind of stuff. Very almost very Hellsing in the kind of that effect. Again, very much in the camera movement too. Another break there as well, another loss of consciousness. We kind of transitioned later into the night where Reki's been spending the entire time cleaning the wings, brushing them and that kind of thing, right? Like after that, you go unconscious from the pain almost, and then you wake up again to notice that she's cleaning your wings. And it almost turns into like a diary entry from Raka here, just describing the way that she's feeling right now. Cold in the limbs. It feels very much like a sickness, right? I'm afraid my body is being turned into something else, is a crazy line too. Sweat stinging my eyes, I can't see anything. However, Reki is still there helping me out. Feels like a very important scene here where we're kind of cleaning the wings and kind of cleansing the wings in that regard. Again, it seems like there's a transition point between like the white and the darker wings, and I'm kind of sitting in that gray. I'm kind of sitting at that precipice as well. Having that clean slate is very important. Giving you the best chance possible of survival, caring for me. What is in Reki's past that informs this? Lots of stuff. Yeah, this line here, not black, not white, beautiful charcoal gray wings. Yeah, interesting. And you'll be all better tomorrow. You'll feel way better. This fever will drop. You'll feel great. Yeah, an episode characterized by metamorphosis and change between two states. And yeah, almost Tonal Whiplash style, Reki was completely right. You'll be fine when you wake up the next morning. Instead of the wings sprouting out of your back and the pain there being the problem, the thing that you're worried about is your hair getting all staticky with the halo. Yeah, very, very cute. Adorable. I think this is where some of the voice acting really stands out as well. So yeah, take that same brush, almost like the brush I was using on your wings, and use it on your hair to get it all back in order. Kind of passing of the object between the two. Ignore VLC, it's having a moment. Yeah, just fun stuff directing wise. But yeah, starting to touch the wings, they're not as painful anymore, nice and clean. They are real, they do have real wings, and there's a general tone of hope leading into the future. The really blown out lighting here and this particular shot, this kind of transition between Raka there into Reki there is very good, and yeah, very characterized here from the white heavenly angel-esque glow behind Raka as we conclude the episode 2. Also nice looking cup of coffee as well. When they pour this, just looks like very nice cup. I don't know, just looks yum. Probably going to go have another coffee here in a second too. So yeah, welcome to Old Home. This is where you're going to be for the next little bit at least. And then yeah, into the ED. Very notably rotating around, spinning in this same costuming. No wings or halo yet. And there's that ocean, there's that precipice from the very start of the episode. It's almost like we're loading up and out of that point. It seems like we're raising almost a little bit. Now we like kind of turn into bubbles. What was that? Yeah, there's a moment there where we wake up for a moment and then kind of turn into bubbles by the very end. Yeah, kind of a bit of an innocuous ED, but I think there's some significance there. The song has a general heavenly tone as well. I should look up a singer. Yo, I'm goated. Okay, so follow this. It's by Heart of Air. So Masumi Ito, who is an artist that has also composed soundtracks and is part of the bands Oranges and Lemons and Heart of Air. If I pop over here to the Azumangadayo soundtrack, specifically Raspberry Heaven, which is the ED there, by Oranges and Lemons. How fucking good am I at this shit? I'm goated. So yeah, this very much sounds like the Azumangadayo ED, which I'm a very big fan of, as well as the rest of the show. I think it's quite awesome. So yeah, shoutouts to that, I figured it out. Yeah, very similar kind of vocal inflection there in the singer's voice. So shoutouts to that. That's very cool. From there, yeah, that's the episode. Enjoyable, I would say. Obviously, I'm waiting for the mystery to hook us in a little bit more, I would say. But general production stuff and some of the character work there, and I guess the mysteries that are there right now, are intriguing enough to me to, again, want to have a second look. Not again that I was ever going to drop it, but you know what I mean. Yeah, if I was watching this casually, I'd probably want to watch another one, which is generally a good sign. We're going to aim for 2 episodes next week, potentially watching those back-to-back and then analysing both after the fact, but again, less to watch now that we have a general establishment of premise, at least on some level, I would say. Yeah, keen to watch more. We'll see. Thanks for watching thus far. Patreon, if you want to be 1 week ahead and watch that next week's episode now, you can do that. Discord, if you want to talk to me about the show. Like the video, subscribe, and I'm out of here. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.